It starts as a dull throb.
You don't think much of it at first, just a small ache at the back of your mouth. You press your tongue against it. It pulses once, twice. You ignore it. By the next morning, it's different. It's alive. It radiates up through your jaw, behind your eye, into your skull. Every heartbeat sends a fresh wave of it through your face. You haven't slept. You can't eat. The side of your cheek is swelling. And here's the thing. It's 12,000 BC. There is no dentist. There is no ibuprofen. There are no antibiotics, no antiseptic, no anesthesia. There is no hospital, no clinic, no one who has ever been to medical school. There is just you, the pain, and whatever your group knows. So the question is, and this is the question nobody ever thinks to ask, what exactly did they know? Let's start with something you take for granted. Right now, if you have a headache, you take a pill. If you have a toothache, you see a dentist. If you break a bone, you go to the hospital. You have options. Ancient humans had none of that. And here's what's terrifying. Pain isn't just suffering. Pain is a threat to survival. It keeps you from eating. It keeps you from sleeping. It keeps you from thinking clearly. It makes you vulnerable. When you're in agony, you can't hunt. You can't gather. You can't fight. You can't run. In the ancient world, being in pain wasn't just uncomfortable. It was a death sentence. Think about this. A single infected tooth could kill you. Not because of the tooth itself, because of the infection that followed. The bacteria would spread to your jaw, then to your blood, then to your brain, and you would die. Not from the pain, from the infection. And here's the thing. There's a reason we're terrified of pain. Evolution made it that way. Pain is your body screaming at you that something is wrong. Pain is your survival mechanism. It's not the enemy. It's the warning system. The problem is, ancient humans had no way to turn it off. So what did they do? They knew something, and they knew it long before medicine existed. They knew how to manage pain. Not cure it, manage it. Let's start with the simplest thing they used. Plants. Long before there were pharmacies, there were forests. Long before there were pills, there were leaves, roots, and bark. Ancient humans were expert botanists. They had to be. Their lives depended on it. They knew which plants could kill you, and they knew which plants could help you. There was a plant called willow bark. You might know it as the source of aspirin. Ancient humans chewed it. They brewed it into tea, and they found that it worked. There was a plant called poppy. You might know it as the source of opium. Ancient humans extracted its sap. They mixed it with water. They drank it. And they found that it worked. They didn't understand the chemistry. They didn't understand the science. They didn't know what an analgesic was. But they knew cause and effect. They knew what worked and what didn't. It wasn't medicine as we know it. It was trial and error. Hundreds of generations of trial and error. They passed the knowledge down. In some places, they used a plant called coca. You might know it as cocaine. Ancient people chewed the leaves, and they found it numbed pain. It also gave them energy. It kept them going when they were injured. And here's the strange thing. Modern medicine has rediscovered almost all of these ancient treatments. They work. They've always worked. Humans just didn't call them medicine. But plants could only do so much. Let's be honest about something. Plant medicines weren't perfect. They didn't work for everyone. They didn't work for everything. They could only manage pain, not eliminate it. And there were conditions where pain was completely beyond their control. Internal pain, appendicitis, kidney stones, childbirth. These were things that plants couldn't touch. Imagine giving birth in 10,000 BC. No pain relief, no epidural, no C-section, just you and the pain. The pain that goes on for hours, days, sometimes longer. Women died from the pain itself, from exhaustion, from the sheer trauma of the experience. And men didn't have it easier. Imagine breaking your leg. No cast, no surgery, no painkillers, just your leg, broken, with no way to fix it. The bone would heal wrong. You would walk with a limp, or you wouldn't walk at all. And here's something you probably haven't considered. Ancient humans didn't just die from injury or infection. They died from the psychological effects of long-term pain. Chronic pain. Pain that doesn't go away. Pain that never gets better. Imagine being in pain every single day. Imagine not sleeping because the pain keeps you awake. Imagine not eating because the pain makes you sick. Imagine living like that for years. That was the reality for many ancient humans. They didn't have antidepressants. They didn't have pain clinics. They didn't have therapists. They had the group. They had each other. They found comfort in community. But comfort isn't a cure. Now we need to talk about something uncomfortable, something we don't like to think about. The ancient world was brutal, and sometimes the way they handled pain was just as brutal. We don't know exactly how common it was, but we know it happened. When someone was suffering from an injury that couldn't be healed, when someone was in agony that couldn't be relieved, they sometimes let them die. It sounds horrible, and it is, but here's the context. In a world without medicine, keeping a severely injured person alive meant using resources that the group needed. Food, water, shelter. It meant carrying them when they couldn't walk. It meant protecting them when they couldn't protect themselves. The group had to make a choice, a terrible choice. They could keep the person alive, using up limited resources, hoping they would recover, or they could let them go. And sometimes the person would ask for it. They would beg to be left behind. Not because they wanted to die, because they couldn't bear the pain. There are many theories. Some believe ancient groups practiced euthanasia. Others think it was more of a let nature take its course approach. The person would be taken to a place and left there with food and water. They wouldn't be killed. They would be left to survive on their own. Which is the same thing. It's a hard truth, but it's a truth we need to face. Humans have always had to make hard choices. Survival has always meant making sacrifices, and sometimes the sacrifice was one of their own.
This brings us to something else. Something you might not have considered. When you're in agony, you're not yourself. You're different. The pain changes you. It makes you irritable. It makes you angry. It makes you withdrawn. It makes you someone you don't recognize. Ancient humans had to deal with this. Imagine being in a group where someone is constantly in pain. They're not easy to be around. They snap at you. They're short-tempered. They push you away. You want to help them, but they make it impossible. This is the psychology of pain. Pain makes you lonely. Not because you want to be alone, because the pain isolates you. It makes you feel separate from everyone else. And in the ancient world, being isolated from the group meant death. If you couldn't connect with your tribe, you couldn't survive. So ancient humans had a simple solution. They didn't treat the pain, they treated the person. They spent time with the injured, they stayed close to them. They didn't try to fix the pain, they just were there. This is something we've lost. We treat pain as a problem to be solved. We have drugs, we have medicine, we have things that help. But we've lost the simple act of being with someone in pain. Ancient humans understood something we've forgotten. Sometimes the best medicine is simply being present, sitting with someone in their suffering, not trying to fix it, just being there. Now let's look at something bigger, something that explains everything we've been talking about. Why did humans survive? Not just the pain, but everything else, the injuries, the diseases, the hunger, the cold, the predators. Why did we make it? The answer might surprise you. It wasn't our intelligence. It wasn't our strength. It wasn't our technology. It was our ability to bond with each other. Evolution doesn't just select for strength. It selects for cooperation. It selects for connection. It selects for empathy. Humans who stayed together survived. Humans who helped each other survived. Humans who cared for each other when they were sick or injured survived. And this is the part you probably don't know. When we experience pain, our bodies release something called endorphins. Endorphins are natural painkillers. They're also something else. They're bonding hormones. They connect us to others. They're the reason we feel closer to someone when we've gone through something difficult together. Pain doesn't just separate us, it connects us. Ancient humans understood this. They knew that suffering together was better than suffering alone. They knew that being with someone in pain was the best thing they could offer. This is the evolutionary secret. This is why humans survived. Not because we were stronger, because we were more connected. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What's changed? We have medicine now. We have painkillers. We have technology. We have everything ancient humans couldn't even imagine. And yet, we're more isolated than ever. When you're in pain, what do? Do you reach out to someone? Do you let them be with you? Or do you suffer in silence? Because here's the truth. We've cured a lot of things. We've found medicine for a lot of things. But we haven't cured loneliness. We haven't found a pill for isolation. Ancient humans had it right. They knew that pain was a part of life. It's never going away. But they also knew that suffering alone is worse than suffering together. Think about the last time you were in pain. Really in pain. Not just a headache, but something that kept you up at night. Something that made you feel like you couldn't go on. Who was there? Who stayed with you? And here's the thing. You don't need to be in pain to experience this. You can offer this to other people. You can be the one who stays. You can be the one who sits with someone in their suffering. Not trying to fix them, just being present. This is the ancient solution. This is what humans always knew. So let me ask you something. The next time you're in pain, the next time you're hurting, what are you going to do? Are you going to reach for a pill? Or are you going to reach for someone? The humans who survived figured it out. They didn't have medicine. They didn't have doctors. They didn't have anything except each other. And that was enough. Because pain isn't the enemy. Suffering alone is. Thank you for listening.